Hey guys, welcome back to the charity build for Make-A-Wish Foundation. Just cracking along with the wiring loom today. So the last video we run from the handlebars basically down and got everything into the engine box, which you can't see because the camera's not low enough, but I'll show you in a second. Today we're just going to fit the tail light assembly. So this is just the original one painted up. For $20 you can get these stems. They're quite common that they'll break, they get brittle and snap off, so I've just replaced them. I've done the old trick with the black bumper coating from Super Cheap for the indicators themselves and polished up the lenses, so it's come pretty nice. One thing I did do, that there's some rubber grommets here, and I looked at the original ones and even looked at ordering them online. They weren't cheap. I went to the bolt shop to get some other stuff, and I ended up getting these grommets from the bolt shop and some bolts that I couldn't find and needed. It was all under $3. So try your local bolt shop because they've, sometimes they've got some really good bargains there, and because if it's a Honda thing, it's probably got the price tag that goes with it. But they were quite cheap, so I was surprised. And then they fit perfectly. If you can see them in there, it's these little rubber grommets. There's 4 of them. So it's just to take the vibration out of this. One of my other bikes, I keep breaking indicator mounts. I've tried. I had some steel ones in there, broke. I put some aluminium. The aluminium sort of work hardens and snaps. It's not great, so have to come up with something else, but I might replace these rubber grommets and try and sort that out first. So we're going to put that on the back, on the mudguard. We're also going to fit the rear brake switch. So that was one I had. It had overspray all over it. I couldn't clean the overspray off with the thinners, but I, again, painted it with the bumper coat. It's come up like brand new, so that's cool. And then this is the other part of the loom. So this goes from inside the battery box to the rear, I don't know which way it goes, but to the rear tail light assembly that I just showed you then. So it's got a rubber grommet either end, one where it comes through the frame into the battery box, and then one where it comes out of the fender. I'm going to bolt this tail light assembly on. So this sits, there's 4 holes at the rear of the bike, fits on. I've got some bolts, again from the bolt shop, that I sort of had trouble getting the right size. And I've just got bolt, washer, and just a nylock nut on the inside. I've got a flat washer either side of the grommet just to try and help compress it, and the nylock just to make sure that it doesn't come undone. It's probably easy to do that without the back wheeling. That was a bit of a pain just to get to the nuts. I've got the nuts, the washer's inside, so it's probably a lot easier to put that on before you put your back wheeling. So learn from my mistakes, because I think that took me a lot longer than it would have if the tyre or the wheel wasn't in there. Alright, so we're going to put this loom, or this rear tail light loom basically, through. On the rear it's all the male fittings on the actual tail light itself, so obviously all the female fittings would go on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to feed it through so that the smaller male fittings are the one that we run up through the bike itself. Obviously they're a lot smaller and easier to get through where we need to. I'm going to also put little rubber grommets that come with it. I'm going to put them in where we need them. So one goes here on top of the fender. There's one in the tail light assembly there, and then there's another one underneath. Again, this would probably be easy without the back wheel on. This runs up through the back. I may have to take the wheel off to do that. So we'll see how we go with that. So I'm just going to run that through. Take that grommet off because I don't need him just yet. I'll run it through, see how we go. I'll come back to you. It's just going to be a fiddly process. You've got to come out of here, and there's this tube that runs on the rear fender up there. There's normally a grey clip here that holds the cable in place. I don't have that. I'm going to have to try and chase one of them up. And obviously the grommet here, and it comes through and then comes out underneath the fender here and then pops out in the back of the battery box here. So I'll run that through, I'll be back in a sec. Alright, so I've run that cable up through. There's two clips, like bendy tabs I suppose you can call them, underneath here that hold that up. There's another grommet where it comes through and then it finally comes in here. Again, probably easier if the back wheel wasn't there. It was a bit of a mission, and same with that. So with the Taillight, if you can, I recommend not having the back wheel in. Do it when it's in the frame stage hanging off the ceiling. When you can get to everything, it would be a lot easier. But anyway, sometimes these things are great in hindsight. This is the little rear brake switch that I did. I'm going to put this in now, and then that will almost have us ready to connect up. Well, we'll have us ready to connect up everything for this section in behind the battery box. So we've got our CDI and flasher relay, which we put in the last video. We've got our wires here that we've run from up the front from the headlight bucket. So really, the wiring on the old 6-volt box or 12-volt box is quite easy. It's basically just connect the colours. So the only thing that isn't, well, I suppose it still is colour coded, it's just a little bit different. It's just colour for colour for every wire here. So you just basically push the connections together. Make sure they're clean. Sometimes a dirty connection can give you all sorts of trouble further down. So I just clean them. I give them a tiny spray with just some WD-40 or something and a wipe just to clean them up before I push them together. The coil that we put in, so up here with those bolts, has the yellow and black wire that connects into here, which we did when we first put it in. The rest of them just connect up. The only thing that's different is that the yellow and green, which is our brake lights, basically our brake lights. This brake light switch here has a yellow and black on it, and the brake light from the rear coming forward has the yellow and green on it as well. So that connection actually has a double port for those two to go into. It's basically just colour for colour, really. It's you can't get too lost in that. Once that's all connected up, which I'll do now, I'll show you. You're left with a blue and red wire here, and they come out together. They're for the battery. So the blue is the negative on the battery or the earth, and the red is the positive on the earth. That goes through a fuse as well, which goes on the outside of the battery box. Again, when I get there, I'll show you that. But basically, I'm just going to connect all this up. I can then put this plate back in place, leaving the two wires for the battery hanging out, and that's all connected in there. So that part of the loom then is connected. We need to connect up the rear, and I'll try and get that in this video and show you how that's done. Okay, so they're all connected up now. As you can see, it's just colour for colour. That was the brake light one that I was talking about with the 2 points. One of them comes to the brake switch for the rear brake, and the one goes through to the brake light itself. Like for like, it's got this little sock it goes over. So what I'm going to pull that up, just tidy them up a bit, and push them back, and then we can put this back in. So I'll put that up. There's a little tab seam there. I'll just put that up behind. Just push that on like that. That just holds it in out of place, nice and neat. This brake switch will go into this hole. So these are the two earthing cables that come in there as well. And then it's probably a bit easy when they're battery things, but that will basically, they'll sit like that. That's the blue and the red for the battery to connect. So this with our CDI and our flasher cam going. That's our my bug zapper going, not my electrical wires zapping as I push that in. That sits back in there. Okay. And then obviously our battery will go in there, and all this stuff will come out around the front. I'll just throw that bolt in there to keep it from falling out. It doesn't want to go. I'll do that in a second. But that's that end of it sorted. So as long as all those wires connect up, everything's got a home. Can't go too wrong there. Then we go to the back of the bike. And that was the wire that we just run through. And these are our indicators. These are the earth wires for the indicators. Now, I've seen this done two ways. If people are having trouble with their indicators, this could be the issue. The indicator has to be earthed, basically. It has to have a positive and an earth. So there's nowhere to connect these. So when I put the tail light in itself, all these points are taken. This one needs a little plug on it. But these are all plug in and connect. And these guys are just sort of hanging by themselves. I've seen it done the two ways. I'll explain it. You can make up your mind which way you've done it. I've actually seen it work both ways, and it does make sense. The green wire here, this guy, so the solid green, not the green and yellow, which is we know that's our brake switch or our brake light. There's a solid green. You can't see him because he's taped up, but that's my solid green there. I've seen these two wires joined in to that. So they've been joined up with the other green wire that goes in there. They've been soldered together and then plugged in. That will work because it goes to the earth on the frame up there. The other way I've seen it done is these two wires have been cut and we've put a fitting on it, and then that fitting's been bolted up here or here, anywhere there's a bolt. I've actually seen they've done a bit of a tech screw straight into here. Anywhere there's earth, even though this has got the rubber mounts on the inside of the guard, there's steel on steel, so it will get an earth. I probably would prefer to do the two wires soldered into the green plug that comes from the tail light. I think that will probably give you a better earth, and it's all sort of on the same system. Just eliminates if there is any issue with this grounding properly through the new paint or whatever. You're not going to get that problem. So I'll show you this. So this is the tail. It needs a bit of clean up still, so that's why I haven't fitted it up. But that, I think you can see on this one. So the two wires, and it's been soldered up. So that's how they've done it in the past on this one. One of my other bikes has got it done the other way. But yeah, you can see that you've got your brake, your tail light, which is brown, and then you've got the earth, which is this one. So I think with this one I'm going to tidy this up. I've got to repair this bit of a crack here and clean it up.
Polished up the lens as well.